everyone. Sorry it has been so long since I put anything up on the KDX. There's just been so much going on. I've been doing a lot of work on a couple other bikes that has taken my time away. And then I went to record the work that I've done on this recently. The battery to my camera was dead, and so I thought, man, if I don't just keep going right now when I have time, I'm not going to make any progress. So anyway, let me give you a brief update on what's been going on. There's so much stuff in the shop here that I don't have a lot of room, so I just set the bike up on this stand so you could see it. But I'm going to grab the camera and give you a brief go over what we've done here real quick. So as you guys remember, this is a 1991 KDX 250 building for my oldest son. Lindsay Machine Racing built the entire motor for me, powder coated frame, and the thing that was holding me up was the linkage and lowering the bike 2 inches. You remember from the last video that I have lowered the front forks 2 inches, had new custom wound springs, used gold valves from Race Tech, and I had a kit to install all new bushings in the swing arm pieces. So I cleaned up the dog bones and stripped the paint off of them, painted them black, and then as you can see the other swing arm pieces, I just kind of polished those, polished the bolts, cleaned everything up really good. Then I took all the bearings and pressed them out, pressed all new bearings back in, and then I rebuilt the rear shock. Surprisingly, the rear shock was, the internals were okay, but the seal head was leaking, had been blown for a long time. There wasn't much oil in there at all anymore. And so I took it all apart, cleaned everything, and if you remember from the lowering videos that we did on the KDX250Fs of my other son, oh, I've got crap in here from cleaning out powder coating. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just put a link somewhere up in here somewhere of the rear shock lowering video that I did on those bikes for those that are interested. But I ended up having, so I had to basically figure out, without the wheel being on, without the fender being on and everything, where the stock position of the swing arm was. So the spring is off and you mount the shock up, all the linkage is done, and you drop the swing arm down, and then you take a measurement vertically, moving the swing arm up 2 inches. So I moved it up 2 inches and then used some black tape around the shaft of the shock in there to mark where that point was. Then you let the swing arm open back up and you measure that distance, and that's how many of these little shims you have to use, top out shims. I've got some in here to show you. Here they are right here. See if the camera can focus on it. That's one of the shims, and linkages are different on all these different bikes, so you can't really guess based on the shims you used in one bike how many you're going to need for the other bike. These are left over from the KDX250F builds. I just keep them to have them around. But anyway, I ended up having to use all of the shims that came in the kit, which was 15 millimeters. It took 15 millimeters of shims in there to drop this bike 2 inches. And of course right now you can't tell, none of the fenders are on or the wheels or anything like that, but the shock is completely rebuilt. I used a Race Tech gold valve. When they come in a box that looks like that. It has a code that you use that's inside the box to log into the website, and you basically mark the boxes on what type of riding that you'll be doing. and it spits out a shim stack for you. And you can kind of select if you like to ride more on the soft side or more if you like the firm. And if you've lowered the bike at all, it takes all that into account. It really makes it easy if you're using that kind of stuff. And so we selected trail riding for 200 pounds, lowering the bike 2 inches, and kind of novice to intermediate class riding, and standard size tank, and younger than 44 years old, I think, were the things we selected. Anyway, long story made short, it spit out the shim stack, and that's what I used. And then bled the shock, 165 psi of nitrogen. And of course, you guys know I have all that stuff here. And so now the shock is installed and ready to go. What I'm going to do next, and I'll probably maybe I'll show some video now that I got my camera charged back up, is I'm going to clean up the fork clamps, the top and bottom fork clamps, get the new head bearings installed, get the fork clamps installed, and then I can go ahead and install the forks that are already done and completed. And then I've got to clean up the brake rotors and get those installed on the rims, and then I'll get the front and rear rim and tire on the tubeless. I guess I haven't told you this, but the tubeless system I've already installed in both tires. They're ready to go. Then I'll get a new sprocket, front and back, new chain, new slider, and we will be getting ready to get that part done. Then I really just have to assemble the rest of the stuff. To be honest, you know, when you take so long to finish a project, and you take all this stuff off you think you're going to remember, and by the time you get everything cleaned up and put back together and get it all back to assemble, it's like, how the crap did that go? And you have to look up microfiches and things to try to figure out how everything fits. So there's a bunch of linkage pieces on this bike, lots of them. They mount to the frame in between the motor and the swing arm and the frame, so that frame bolt was in and out 3 or 4 times. But anyway, so it's coming along. Just wanted to give you guys a brief update. Hope you're all doing well. I don't know, maybe you guys can let me know. I haven't uploaded a lot of stuff because I've been working on my dad's bagger, doing all kinds of things that it's needed to have done. Just put a new tire on the back, got a new chain coming, we're getting some stuff powder coated. So I've been spending time on that. I took my tank off of my chopper. It's just a disaster in here, I know, sorry. I mean, that's my old tank, just because I had a lot of, a big problem. The guy that built, no, I'm not going to blame anybody. There's a gasket issue that didn't allow oil to the top end like it was supposed to. I've repaired all that. It's all fixed now, but I had some upper engine damage that needed to be repaired. I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, but I'm getting a bigger tank, and it's at my buddy's house. He's going to do the painting for me, and then I'll put it back on, and then I've got some tuning to do with ignition and stuff, because I had to take all that stuff apart. And it runs, but the ignition isn't right, and so it's hard to keep it going. But anyway, so I don't know. I haven't been posting videos because I've been working on these bikes. I've had mega suspension jobs that have kept me busy. But anyway, I wanted to get this off to you, let you know where we're at. We're making progress, and I don't know, what do you guys think of the colors and stuff so far? Does it look okay? Anyway, hope you're all doing good, and we'll chat with you soon on the next one, okay? See ya.